You know, it now occurs to me as I start the recording that I did not move everyone to their normal starting places. Let's see if I was lucky. Okay, let's take. Okay, everyone faces. Ready? Okay, here we go. Counting us in. 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Titanslair Season 2, Episode 8, probably. I also didn't check to see whether I did the
It is
correct
episode
episode.
8. I just looked my
I thought that was the episode title. Sorry, okay.
The episode title is this episode 8? I am APGamingREAL. I'm now a full-time Crusader Kings 3 RP Game of Thrones mod streamer. I am joined by Omar Krieg of the Krieg Dominion as Velamris Quineel, and Grimdark James of the Dice Mechanics channel as Holly Van der Velt, and by KainDamael, that's not his real name, that's just his internet name, and he wants you to know that, playing Rassie van Lucht, or something very similar to that name. We normally jump in to the game pretty fast, but we only have 2 hours to play today, and I want to slow things down. We are going to do something we haven't done for a little while, which is to check everybody's short and long-term goals, because I don't know them. I don't know what you're working towards, so I can't nudge you in that direction. Hey, Omar, thanks for resubbing while I'm in the middle of talking. I really appreciate that, man.
That's the tradition, isn't it? The
Yeah, it
tradition
is a
lives.
tradition. I don't know which motherfucker started it, but I assume it was James,
I
actually.
feel
No,
like
no,
it's either
it was
James
a-
or Glemo.
No, it was actually a Sid Alpha thing originally.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
What
a
a
deep
callback.
cut.
I
That's
feel
a
like I'm
callback,
5 years ago.
Yeah.
back when you still had like really loud notifications coming up every time it happened.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's
yes.
true. I
I
couldn't
think that's
figure out
what
how to
caused
lower
me.
the volume on them. It took me years before I found the setting for that.
That's how we did. That's how the tradition began, was because of that loud sound.
Yes, of course. Everyone being an
That's right.
asshole.
Back in the days of fresh-faced, always positive Arthur. Hi, and welcome to the APGamingREAL channel. You know,
I like AP's face right now.
Suddenly, this day has become shit on AP day.
I don't know that that person you're talking about ever existed. I do remember back before I had gray in my hair. It was before 2016 for sure. Yeah, short and long-term goals, guys. Chop, chop. I know you got them because you want that XP.
well, oh, you go ahead, Emma.
No,
You go.
no. Go ahead.
All right, I will go. Fine. Like my long-term goal for this season has definitely been still trying to obtain a Gellerfield for the Darkwind. I finished my short-term goal about 2 or 3 sessions ago and haven't thought of a new one just yet. I mean, I'm trying to think of how I can break down my long-term goal into bite-sized chunks and then set the next chunk as the short-term goal. So I think that what I haven't done yet that I think I'm going to make my short-term goal now is to actually like locate a Gellerfield to try and trade for. Like to try and, because I've discussed it a couple of times, but I don't think I've actually got like a hardcore, this is where I can get it from and this is what those people want.
I think I did tell you that if you were going to aim for somebody, you do know that there is a rogue trader's distant cousin who you've spoken with several times, Lionel Chutneybrie, who is a specialist at cargo recovery.
Yeah.
And when they pirate ships...
Oh, that's right. They had the pirate group that could potentially, yeah. So,
yes.
so I think, I mean, what's the next step then in progressing that channel, I guess, is because obviously the pirates, their main interest is probably going to be financial. They probably don't want specific items, although they may. I guess I need to set up a meet with his people. Unless he's going to broker the deal fully, or would he be the sort of
He is a representative for the
meeting?
Seasoning Guild. I mean, if you want to go to him or just to the guild in general, and of course they represent Kain'damael Chutneybrie, who is the rogue trader of the Chutneybries.
Okay, so I'm gonna put down my short-term goal is reach an understanding with what's it called, the guild?
Seasoning Guild, yes.
Yeah, with a name like Chutney, of course there are seasoning guild members.
Are they all named after different seasons and spices? Are they like the KFC Twitter, which follows like was it
Herbs and spices, yeah.
yeah, six men named Herb and the five Spice Girls. That's right. So it's 11 herbs and spices.
That's true. He's right. That's yeah. And when
And
someone pointed that out on Twitter, I think they gave him lifetime KFC. So
and a painted portrait of him having a piggyback from Colonel Sanders.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Wow.
okay, that gives me a very clear picture of where you're headed towards. You know, Velamris, you seem like you were really eager to speak before. What's your long and short and long?
Well, my long term is still the achieving knighthood / starting a knight organization, and obviously not in the Titan sort of way.
Or an Imperial Knight sort of way. You mean in a rigidly regimented...
yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll call it what it is. I'm trying to make the Warhammer 40K version of the Jedi Order, but we don't have any superpowers or anything. We're just a bunch of guys running around with swords and stuff.
Sure.
Swords, guns, and...
We normally just call that Calidus Assassins, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. That works, actually. But I think my short term, actually, so I've been trying to, like, work Luther into being my unofficial squire and eventually maybe making him officially my squire. So I actually want to do some sort of test, maybe like take him out in the backwoods of nowhere and make him hunt an animal or something and go with him to make sure he doesn't get himself killed.
So your short-term goal is to put him in extreme peril while you watch over him.
It's to test him and then make sure he doesn't die. Because that would be bad that you send your squire. Listen, we're not the Sith. We don't send our apprentices out to get killed. We send our apprentices out to learn.
I heard those two things, and all I could think was they are the same.
Yes, I know that.
We're not the Sith. We just believe in, through the Force, I will break my chains and free myself,
Yeah, yes, exactly that. No, I think, but yeah, he wants to test him and see, like, is he going to be a worthy fit for the way Velamris has always been a book nerd and digging through the records, but he's also managed to be tactical guy with all the guns and now a sword. And now he's going to try to get Luther to follow along.
Okay. Have you
Also
told
somewhat
Luther that
deranged.
he's your squire, or you want him to be a squire?
No, because
I didn't think so.
I can't, because, well, on one hand, I can't call him a squire because I myself am not knighted.
Yeah.
So, and then, like, I haven't really let the full cat out of the bag yet as far as what I'm trying to do with him either. I'm just going to have him, he's going to be my little work shadow.
You're going to do all of this, and Holly is still going to forget that he exists.
Yes, that's fine. We actually prefer it that way, that people forget we exist.
He's like a blank, but only for people's memories rather than the word.
Actually, I'm joking about it, but that actually would make a lot of sense. If we do end up becoming some sort of knightly order of assassins, people forgetting about our existence is exactly what we want.
Sure.
Until, we need paychecks.
The Grey Knights have a very similar policy, but on the other hand, how they make people forget them is a bit more final than others.
It's an absolute way to do it, yes.
Well, Kain, it's down to Rassie's long and short-term goals.
I ditched my previous short-term goal because I can't figure out how I would do that realistically. So I've changed it. My long-term goal is slightly different, but essentially the same. It is to finish remaking the 143rd as the DDTs.
I think you've made excellent progress on that.
My short-term goal right now is to put together a list of needs for the 143rd and to complete an action item on that list. Put together my list of things that, like, once I get all of these done, then I have finished, and there is now a Darkwind drop trooper regiment.
Okay. In this second season, we've found you acting increasingly independent of the rogue trader as you expand your influence out into the system of Titanslair. You've met with various Magoses, Archmagoses, Knight Orders, politically active traders, union members. It's been a long journey for you that has woven around your Space Marine Minder and has ended with you purchasing the idea of getting a force sword version of a cavalry saber for him that is currently waiting his arrival on the planet of Titanslair and heading down to the World Forge so it can be fitted to his immense size and fighting style. Beyond that, you've met with many people and even gained new members to your crew. Luther, of course, has always been around, or maybe he hasn't been, and you just keep forgetting about it. But you now have a contact by the name of Gifanovius, who you are leaving behind on the moon Alpha, who is running your... Oh my, I forgot the name of your medical service, your medical insurance service.
Who is running our horrifying invention
Physical
of
Salvation Services of House Darkwind. He is running that personally. He is the only employee, and he's basically just there to pass requests along to the Magoses of Titanslair to solve health problems for any of the servitors now that all the workers have been killed.
He's in one of those like buildings you have downtown where they have like you rent single offices with a common receptionist.
Yeah, it's a strip mall that has like lawyers and a Walgreens and a Blockbuster Video.
Well, of course, it's got the Blockbuster. Where else are we getting our videos of?
There's a Chinese place called Golden Something for sure.
I have a question. Since I have my notes page open, would you say that since we started the entire campaign, that at least a year has passed?
I think probably 4 to 5 months have passed. I wouldn't say a full year.
I wasn't sure how long the travel was, like, for example, from Iron Archipelago to Titanslair,
well,
for example.
That brings out a greater question of, for you guys, time has passed. I believe you were on the asteroids for about 6 months, and then, yes, you traveled for about 3 months on ship, but the amount of actual time that has passed varies because of your travel time in the warp. But
okay, but I mean time for our characters.
Time for you is probably closer to 9 months, I believe.
Okay, no,
because you had 6 months waiting for the Rogue Trader, and then it was a 3-month transit to Titanslair. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we've been here at Titanslair for a couple weeks.
Couple days.
Couple
days. I feel like it would be. Well, maybe it has only been a few days.
We've been very active.
Pretty short. Yeah, you've been bouncing around everywhere.
Yeah, we have no downtime or weekends.
Well, we're highly motivated. We choose not to have that downtime.
Yeah, I would say highly motivated is an accurate descriptor. You have not taken any downtime for yourself for sure. Also,
I'm hearing beach episode here, AP.
Are we doing shirtless volleyball? That's the only question.
So it's interesting you say that, because the lead into the beginning of this episode is we start with a man standing in the corner of a conference room plugged into the wall as we see Magos Kierkegaard, your negotiator, just the red blinking light at his throat of constant what's it called? Not NeoWeb. The
Newsphere.
Newsphere, yes. The newspheric communicator at his throat is going off constantly. But like his red eyes are closed and his head is down. The hood is covering most of his face up with the robes. And he is standing silently unmoving for over 24 hours here. We see that beautiful sunlight of the Barrier Islands beaches around you is pouring in through a massive cathedral wall of beautiful portraits of Darkwind, like Darkwind kneeling before the God Emperor receiving a sword, and like various depictions of like saintly machines, Titans like kneeling down before the Emperor as well, and then like riding on the crown of one is Darkwind with the sword held forth. The sort of decorations you might expect to see from a Rogue Trader bungalow designed by the Mechanicus. All of you are stirring and waking to see that the bridge crew of the Darkwind is around you in like booty shorts and like white tank tops. It's completely different from your previous meetings of them in like full uniform. You've met with Darkwind in like a blazer and a collared sweater and like business slacks before. I mean, some of you have even had lunch with him not knowing who he is, but he's just straight up wandering around in like a bathrobe with like his toothbrush hanging out of his mouth right now. It's a real cozy environment right now of a bunch of very tired officers who haven't had a break because they've been at war, you know, for over a year, and now they're back. Their home got blown up. They've dragged their home to a new place. While they were doing it, there was an infestation of orcs, and then there was an infestation of Nurgles, Chaos Marines, whatever those are called, Plague Marines, and then the orcs came back, and just things keep getting worse. They are tired, and they're going to enjoy their vacation in this bungalow that was made for them. So
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
I'm tired of this. So yeah, you see that there are various like stewards running around bringing people bowls of cereal and other like fine food selections, bowls of fruit and anything that they could bring from the ship. You smell like this enormously rich smell of like roasted duck fat and like garlic and fresh herbs as someone is cooking like a full on like English breakfast, but with the most Warhammer 40K edgelord noble ingredient swaps. Oh, blood pudding? What about full on duck sausage? You know what I mean? Yeah,
blood pudding made from corpse starch.
Yes, and throughout it all, like one person is taking up the entire hallway as, you know, a full-on space marine in armor is like walking past people. Just
I'm imagining, honestly, I'm imagining Borghese in a bath towel, just
no, he's in his armor. Don't bath towel him. No, he's in his armor, and he's big.
Yeah, I was just imagining him. No, that's gonna come
you know how
wrong.
it is in the Warhammer 40K universe. The taller you are in the Imperium, the more people you command.
Yes. That's why the Primaris Marines are bigger than the regular Marines.
Yes. Why does the bigger one not eat the smaller one?
Because the smaller one's smart, stays away.
What do you all want to do?
I think in light, so obviously they've been let off the Darkwind
yes.
now. Yeah, okay, no worries. I think in this scene, Holly's sort of like walking around, like picking up after just like stuff which has been like casually dropped, just trying to like, you know, she sort of got this place set up. And now these people are making a mess of it, like a frat house.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's straight up used condoms, whatever the Warhammer 40K version of beer is. Beer cans are everywhere. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think the stewards are very happy to see you there. Can you make an ingratiate check of some kind to ingratiate yourselves on the people of the bungalow?
Like rapport? Maybe?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds fine.
All right, so. Let's, you know, first roll the game must spend fate. So that's the unwritten law of this particular.
Have you met these people? No, this is a joke. I'm joking when I say that. Ooh, wow.
0 degrees of failure.
All right, I'll spend another fate point to make it a success at least.
Okay. I think that your efforts to pick up after things are noticed and appreciated by the staff. And you can see that some of the bridge officers who really have not paid attention to you before are noticing, and you see a particularly dangerous looking man carrying like a bolter rifle and then like a tube of some sort of like recoilless rocket launcher on his back, and a chainsword, like looks over at you while wearing a Hawaiian shirt and like cargo shorts and just kind of gives you a nod, and you've definitely gained the attention of the arch militant of the war band. Just gives you like a nod and then goes back to like gnawing at a biscuit. And you can hear him go, "It's not hard enough. It's not like the stuff we had when I worked for the Navy. It's too high quality. Give me the tack." You can see he's complaining to the navigation officer, who's just sitting there with an eye patch over her third eye, trying to get some sunlight, going, "I don't care, Grays."
I don't care. I'm just trying to unwind. Shut up about it already.
It's always good when, as players in a role-playing game, you meet another group of PCs.
I remember your group of Inquisitors who were wandering around on a planet during the Warhammer 40K campaign that were just like, yeah, we're not part of the Inquisition. Giant pilgrim hat, huge inquisitorial symbol.
I think Velamris is taking advantage of being out on the beach and is doing he's just running Luther through some sword drills, and they're like just practicing, like he's going slow and easy, trying to get Luther to actually get actual attacks in. And he's just trying to just guide him through that. And he's doing it out on the beach. And so this is looking like, we got the sun kind of low on the horizon, so it looks real epic, cinematic.
Oh yeah,
some
there's
fly
definitely
arounds,
that
maybe.
flash where the blade goes
Yeah.
and it catches the sunlight.
Yeah. Every now and again, we catch the sword at the right angle. It blocks the sun, comes back with the proper amount of lens flares. None of them were CGI added in, by the way.
What a
And then
reference.
we've got, of course, the panoramic swing through around. But yeah, it's just Velamris and Luther just trying to get some swordplay in and trying to make this dude into an actual combat effective individual.
I would like a leadership role and whatever the melee weapon skill is from you. And I'm going to determine how the training goes based on the combination of two roles.
What is leadership under?
Yep.
A fellowship,
melee
right?
skill-
It's under
The-
presence.
Oh, presence?
Yeah, the melee skill is called melee casino.
Yeah.
Well, let's sub call it one-handed as well, since we're talking about.
Well, I have one-handed.
Okay, well that's great.
I'm going to also spend a fate point to get advantage because my presence is a whopping 26.
Wow, a guy who historically was ill noticed by. Oh,
And
Never
then
mind.
my melee. Watch, this one's gonna be shit. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fate that one.
you want to do something about it?
Yeah.
Should
I'm
have
gonna-
taken the
I'm
first
gonna-
point. It would have been assist with advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I? So I'm spending a fate point to re-roll. Can I re-roll with advantage for a
With two
second?
fate points, sure.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
And
38.
now
Impressive.
I think I'm down to one fate point for the
Okay.
rest of the episode.
Blowing
No,
through
I'm
it,
down to
yeah.
two. I'm down to two.
As you are practicing with him, you definitely feel a bond of comradeship, not of like knight and squire, but like he's a good student and he's learning very quickly. It's not that he was ever untrained, right? Like this guy went through some sort of militant training before he signed up for the Rogue Trader, but he certainly never went through any Progenium Scala training or anything like that. And he's definitely not like Rassie, like a drop trooper trained to drop out of the sky and like pistol and stab people. He's getting better very quickly. Like just in the course of the morning, your instruction has taught him. And you can see that, again, you've impressed both the Arch Militant and Borghese, as Mercutio Borghese just like comes over nearby in his armor and comes to a surprising and maybe even creepy stillness of not moving while watching the two of you and gives you a slight nod. Not to say that you're the best trainer ever or that either of you are really good at swords, but just like you're doing well, keep at it sort of nod.
Like recognizing the effort, if not the actual skill.
I mean, I don't know how much I've emphasized it, but this guy rides a motorcycle and uses a sword regularly. So if someone like that is paying attention to your sword practice, he must see something in you.
Does he sharpen the sword by scraping on the road?
No, because he's not crazy. Also, he's trying to buy a power sword cavalry saber, and you'd absolutely fuck the blade and the road up doing that. He's not Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. He doesn't need... Listen, he's a space marine. He doesn't need an impressive wave of sparks to impress people. He's a space marine.
So back when I was young and stupid and still riding my motorbike regularly, we did like to test things. So we went to like a street market and bought one of those cheap like katana sets you buy for like $80.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, man. I've got one.
Yeah, that's it. And we rode the bike and to see if you could actually like sharpen it on the. And it just yanked the blade right out of your hand.
Oh, I was
away.
gonna say you flattened that bitch out real good, right? Like you went from a really sharp angle to like a really jagged, like kind of
Just
flattened
frown down.
Yeah, because we watched, what was it, the old Michael Douglas film Black Rain, where like the in Japan where they do that with the katanas, you know, it's like,
Okay.
let's see if it'll actually work, and no, it didn't work.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
You know,
worked
when
well.
you're a kid, it takes a long time to come to the realization that things that happen in movies aren't necessarily real.
Yeah, but we didn't
Yeah.
do it on a road, we did it on a basketball court, so that's okay.
Okay, that's definitely a stance.
As Velamris and Luther are going through their drills, I think Velamris is also kind of realizing that he doesn't see himself as anywhere near like classically or officially trained. You know, he's learned a lot of this stuff from people that know better, but he's not been through any sort of academy or paganum or anything like that. And I think he's starting to get the idea that maybe as part of one's training that you spend time teaching as well, because as we all know, teaching helps enforce some of the things you've learned. And I think he's, if not necessarily getting a little bit better himself, because I don't have enough experience points yet, but it's definitely, oh yeah, that I just explained why I'm going to be spending experience points on leadership now.
Sure.
Because he's learning how to be a better leader by teaching. He's learning by doing. I'm rambling.
You know what they say, those who can't lead, teach.
There are some that say that they are one and the same, but
I thought it was those who can't do teach, but anyway.
and those that can't teach Jim.
Yes, but I was just trying to piss off the Marine Corps drill instructors of the world. They would destroy me easily. It would take seconds.
You picked, it's an interesting niche you decided to make an enemy with.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, really. Talk about picking your battles,
Hey,
Arthur.
listen, I've had some people on this show go up and just be like, you know what, fuck France. In fact, that was you, James. You and all the Australians of my show.
How many Australians? Oh, well, I guess there's 3 now.
Yeah.
Mike's only
actually.
tangentially
Oh,
Australian.
4. Yeah, 4. I forgot about Mike. Sorry, Lord Hunger.
Okay.
We're slowly taking over.
What would you all like to do now?
Okay.
I would like to, while they're doing what they're doing, I want to test out, because leaders were assigned and the DDT went and did their cleanup duty.
Mhm.
I want to test and see how this leadership structure is working, to see what I can do with it. So I want to have them all out on a section of the beach, and from myself down through the leadership chain, have a revolving calisthenic nonsense going on, and see how well it can maintain coordination through the different layers of leaders we've got, and see what changes I need to make.
Okay.
So are you doing telephone? Telling your next
You're going
immediate
to tell a
subordinates?
critical role telephone game where you tell them a story and then they have to tell it to the next person in line, but they also have to juggle ammunition cartridges for their las guns in the
So,
process.
there's going to be a large billboard put up, and assigned squad leaders are going to have to keep checking to see if I have changed the scrolls on there for what their schedule is supposed to be for their exercises and stuff. And they're doing things like being dropped in the water and having to swim back up the beach, or running up and down the beach, or picking things up and running and putting them down. And it's got to be the right stuff based on the schedule. And is the information disseminating, and are they staying together?
Wow. It's amazing.
Kane is definitely taking out some pent up, frustration on your NPCs, AP.
Rassie, before we make this roll, the Arch-Militant approaches you with a cup of recaf, absolutely steaming in the morning coolness. That is, the steam is rapidly evaporating as the sun rising is raising the temperature. And he goes, "Well, mate, sure is a hell of a time to bring 1,000 men down onto the rogue trader lord's private beach without checking with him first. It's pretty noisy out here for a vacation morning, don't you think, Captain?"
I'm hoping it will alleviate some stress to see that things are going well without the need for his direct attention.
You think these men are ready for those drills, then?
I do.
Okay. takes out his bolter and gets one of the like a belt magazine, puts it in there, and then begins firing wildly over their heads. And your men immediately like hit the deck and are like, "Oh God, what's happening?"
Can I roll leadership and see if if the command structure like survives and things keep moving? They just do it under fire.
I'm gonna ask you to do so at disadvantage. Actually,
this
is the real test.
I'm gonna spend a fate
To counter that. Sure, that works.
To counter that. And then I will re-roll it.
Sure.
I see the tradition continues.
Okay.
And then I'll spend another one to make it a +3. So hopefully it's more impressive.
He does look very impressed. Grays, begins firing. Your men immediately panic. And then you don't have a commissar. And so the position that a commissar would normally fill has been filled by your lieutenants, who used to be fuck-ups and sergeants. And so, they also hit the ground. And then as much as they can, they're like in a kneeling position and they're like, "Keep your cool!" They're like screaming loudly over it. And they like gesture for Vox operators to come over them and are just shouting orders. And then they're sergeants and all of the lower ranks, like people begin getting organized. They don't exactly have entrenching tools, but they form a line and begin moving through the sand, like crawling to surround the position that they're being fired from and flank it. Grays goes, "Well, I'm fucking impressed. They've come a long way from being just absolute hooligan cultists with sticks and flame. Nice job, Captain."
Given to the care of Elysians, we can make something of this. There's more to do, but I think they're making good progress.
You smoke?
I do.
All right, come with me. He pulls out 2 big fat cigars and what are those cigar clipper things called? The cutters?
Cigar cutter.
Yes. Okay, yeah. And basically leads you back into the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go with to enjoy.
You leave your troops.
They've got their instructions on the board.
They're completely confused, but as we've already seen, you've given them a +3 on leadership tests with disadvantage. So yeah, like your sergeants and your lieutenants all snap into place and they're like, "The event's not over!" And someone's like, get up, get back to running. I want to see you pull that man out of the water, and you better, dead man, float out there. You can see like the guy's like, "Sergeant, I can't swim," and he's like, "Great, that's exactly what I want. You better be drowning when they pull your ass out of there."
I can't swim. Prove it.
Okay. Yeah, and you get to spend some personal FaceTime with Grace. He takes you to you guys didn't build a gentleman's smoking lounge, but every aspect of it makes you feel like somehow, in some way, your good friend the Lord must have been involved in this, because it has the decor and feeling and taste of a man who taught you to be an imperial governor, in its dark reds and blacks and in the wood paneling. Every part of it feels like a sense of richness and like huge plush leather chairs and like I want to say faux animal heads. You know what I'm talking about? Like plastic stag heads that the Imperium that the Mechanicus has like fabricated and then placed up there and painted to look like real animals, but are very clearly dead, lifeless hunks. And the two of you just smoke some cigars for a while and speak as men do, as West Wing would say. Your men perform well on the field.
So once
I enjoy smoking, and I enjoy smoking with Grace.
Once we're sort of done here, we don't have anything further to do here. I will attempt to send some sort of communication to Lionel Chutley Bree to ask whether he could facilitate a meeting with the Seasoning Guild.
Lionel Chaderius
Discuss business.
sent you back an immediate communication indicating that he would be overwhelmingly honored to act as the merchant should you require an agent for services, that he will personally handle any case that you require with the Seasoning Guild.
Just what I think about AP. Because you told me last time I could add the 2 contacts, Lionel Chaderius and the other woman from the it's my notes from my other computer.
Yeah,
but,
Director Chelsea Maria Alexandra Lezaby
yeah,
from the Macarian Trading
contacts.
Company. Yep.
To add contacts, they have to be assigned to one of the existing factions. You can't create. There's no sort of faction for nobility, so I was probably going to put them under infractionists.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Absolutely. Yeah. He works for pirates, and she works for the cold trade, so infractionist is perfectly reasonable.
Okay, no worries.
That's weird that nobility isn't.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
Infractionist is 100% for sure.
Yeah, Administratum, Astrotelepathica, Mechanicus, Ministorum, Militarum, Imperial Fleet, Infractionist, Rogue Trade Dynasty, the Inquisition.
I'm hearing a really healthy need for a splat book to add that category.
All right, I'll get him onto it. I'll give Dale a call tomorrow.
What's truly frightening is he's probably not kidding. Oh, in 8 months' time, it's going to be like written by the dice mechanics. James is going to personally create the rules. So whenever you would like to transport yourself to any site to meet with him, they are not, like, he doesn't have permission to come onto...
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Does anybody else in this group need to go off well for anything at all? Like, so we can save on fuel for the flyer?
Save on Promethium?
Yes.
I was updating some stuff and spending some experience points. Where are we going? To the moon? Is that where you're headed?
I have a meeting there, yes.
Do we have... Where are we at with the negotiations between the House of War and House Vandersarg and the Adeptus Mechanicus? What's our
we
next
were
step
waiting
in
for
that project?
Vandersarg to sort this shit out a little bit first.
Okay.
I
suppose
it's only been 12 hours.
Sure. I suppose somebody should check on Giefanovius, make sure he hasn't broken anything. Because he's on the moon too, am I right, AP?
Yes.
We've also
So who was he again?
Giefanovius? You don't remember?
No.
Sister? Sure. No, he's the one that works for us, and he handles our interactions with the local worker force that are no longer fully humanized.
All right. I've met him, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
He was our guide for a brief time.
I mean, this is understandable. We only recently hired him.
Yes. Yeah, it was only like 3 days ago, apparently. But maybe we should check in with him to make sure everything's going well.
I just realized I've got a new spirit animal now for this character. The mayor from Spin City.
What is it?
Do you remember the show Spin City with Michael J. Fox?
Vaguely.
And there was the mayor played by
right after I watched the other movie you suggested I watch.
What was the other movie? Now I'm curious.
I have it in my Gmail notes, but he's been suggesting I watch...
yeah, Pillars of Earth.
Pillars of Earth. I knew it had something to do with Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, for Pendragon. Yeah, Spin City is just Michael J. Fox plays the assistant to the mayor of a city, and the mayor is like this like very charismatic but highly forgetful and highly incompetent mayor, where his assistant is actually doing all the work to keep the city running, but he's just like he's the charismatic face of it all.
I'm not sure that I could relate to a character who's highly forgetful and incompetent.
He's played by Barry Bostwick as well, who was like Brad from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Wasn't he the main male character? It was the two that were lost or needed help that stopped at the house. That was the guy, right?
That's right. Yeah. He was also in the old Battlestar Galactica.
Ooh.
Who did he play?
I can't remember. I don't think he played Starbuck. I think he played somewhere.
It wasn't Starbuck because that was Kirk Benedict.
Yeah.
Or Dirk Benedict. What a name. I'm gonna live my life with that name now.
Well, your shuttle is prepped and ready to go. It's got that XCOM loading screen sort of status when you determine who you want to load in and where you want to go.
I'm dragging Luther with me. I'm making him come with me everywhere.
I don't know that you need to drag him anywhere. His job is to go with you.
I'm making sure he knows that he's being brought along.
He has never been
and I'm not doing it
resistant.
necessarily in a derogatory sort of way. Like, I might be hazing him a little bit from time to time, but it's like, come on, let's go. We're doing things.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of workplace bullying.
Yeah, just a little, just a little.
All right, we cut to the four of you, including Luther, arriving down to. I guess the question is, do you want to go meet with Guy Fenovius at Physical Salvation Services, or do you want to meet with Lionel Chutneybrie at the
Well, we can
season
split up. I don't care about Keefanovius, so
Okay.
we can. Yeah.
I just was doing that. To be totally honest, I was doing that to give a reason for Velamris to go up to the moon in case anything silly happened at the moon.
So you guys walk into the Seasoning Guild, and it has all, like, the outside streets, as you already know, are full of informants and low-level workers watching your every move. As the web of political intrigue and money flowing through this area, and you guys are, like, very wealthy. You've been noted as being involved with the governor. You've given him orders. You've created an entirely new system of healthcare. You were involved in killing all of the union miners. That's well known here.
Let's be clear. Involved is really kind of an indirect sort of term
From
here.
a certain point of view, which is everyone on the moon.
Involved.
You're extremely involved, yes. So yeah, you guys get the sort of status of someone in a music video entering into a club, and people move out of their way because they know that you're very dangerous and sexy. So as you enter into the Seasoning Guild, you go from, like, low-tech steampunk pipes everywhere, miserable Imperium, airless moon dome, into, like, there's a chamber orchestra playing, like, dun 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 dun. As you walk in, someone offers you, like, coat and hat check, and, like, can I take anything for you, sirs, madam? Would you like to have a courtesy drink ordered? I understand that you're all guests of Sir Lionel Chutneybrie, and you see Lionel is on the second floor of this beautiful wood-paneled, like, very expensive. Nothing grows on this airless, dead moon, so this entire building had to have been imported and then built inside. You could see he's loading a 2-shot bolter rifle, like an elephant hunting gun with an oversized, like, truly, like, Space Marine bolter round size, just like 2 big rounds, and then clicking the action back in place, and he goes, "Ho ho! There's my favorite friends. I was just preparing my suit to head on out on a space bear hunt. But I have time to meet with you anytime, Sister Holly. And companions! I've heard so much about the 3 of you. Well, 2 of you. Who is that guy?"
This is Luther, one of our colleagues.
What of the help, I assume?
A little bit more than help.
All
But
right.
yes.
You see him pull out a chainsword and rev it real quick. Yes, old Betsy, perfect for declawing a space bear. Well, shall we retire to the drawing room so we can draw up some papers, perhaps?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, I'm
cut
just going to order a drink to go in with us.
What kind of drink?
Some sort of, what time of day is it? Like mid-morning?
You're on
Late
an
afternoon.
airless moon.
Yes, but what time is it according to the clocks?
Okay. Let's say on this space, it's like mid-morning.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be just a light cocktail. Nothing crazy. Just a little bit of fruity.
Yep.
No,
Do you
something
get the
that-
umbrella?
Yeah, it's meant to be more like a refreshing sort of thing.
All right. You guys get a light tea service with scones and small sandwiches, canapes and such. And then, of
Yeah.
course,
And
Velamris gets
walks
a
in-
hard
walks-
liquor drink.
walks into the
I'll take
margarita.
a hard tea instead of the standard tea. How about
Okay.
that?
They get you a Mark's Hard Limonade.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Wow.
I just couldn't come up with anything to make it Warhammer 40K-ish.
The Mark Zero.
The Mark Zero hard lemonade.
Yes.
Yep. The Mark Patton lemonade.
Ah,
There you
there
go,
we
Mark
go.
Pattern.
The Mark Pattern lemonade. Limonade, yes. We don't want to get sued. Lionel says, well, from the Vox message I received earlier, it sounds as if you're looking for a Geller field for a ship, a large enough ship that, like a frigate or a small destroyer.
Yeah. So what class is the Darkwind? What pattern?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I know we know it. I just don't remember either.
Yeah.
It wasn't a sword class frigate, was it? It had to be bigger than that, I thought.
It is a Tyrant class light cruiser.
Okay.
So it's a CA, so that must be heavy cruiser.
It's a cruiser, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyrant class is a full size cruiser.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very 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 popular with the chaos worshippers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Yes, I'm looking to secure a new Geller field. We're looking to update. It's been a while. The ship in question is up on cinder blocks right now and looking to have some work done. And look, we obviously have a trade empire to draw on, but I thought that using solars is so gauche. I thought maybe we could talk about how we could help the Seasoning Guild and try and work out some sort of. It's not so much a purchase as it is a trade, a collaboration.
Oh, I don't know how he would word this. Huh.
You can ask ChatGPT.
Well, I'm probably going to ask you, James. So he wants to say that he knows that you all have the favor of the Mechanicus and that you've been... I mean, they literally could just pull a telescope out and see that you've been going on and off the world and that you've been going down to the restricted barrier islands. Like, none of that is a secret to anybody, right? Yeah. The fact that you killed all the miners and they were replaced by Mechanicus servitors, that you're dictating orders to this world's governor, like, all of that indicates that your rogue trader is operating at a really high level here. So I don't think he wants to say we've been spying on you when we know how powerful you are, but he does want to intimate that, like, yes, I know that you have resources and that you have the favor of the Mechanicus, and I want you to know that that's what I want as payment, is the favor of the Mechanicus.
Okay, I mean, it's easy to say, like, you've obviously, your reputation precedes you, and you obviously have lots of allies that we'd like to share as well, sort of thing. So,
of course, and then you say what to that, James? I'll let you do both sides of the conversation.
Wow, I just watched the GM get a player to play both sides of their conversation.
Yeah, because it sucks when you're the GM playing two NPCs trying to have a conversation in front of the PCs. Certainly, I'm all about forming connections and about bringing people and institutions together. I think that in order to broker the right agreement, I would need to have an idea about what the Seasoners Guild would want out of the Mechanicus. I mean, obviously, friendship is a total reward, but the Mechanicus are quite transactional in their nature. They would need to understand what benefit you seek to derive, or your organization seeks to derive from collaboration with them.
Well, I'm sure you already know on this world that in order to do business with the Mechanicus, you need to be as honored as my Rogue Trader house is, and we can do business with them directly, but they are a very perfunctory and obstinate people from time to time. And their understanding of economics is skewed by their spiritual preferences. However, as we've noted, your group has done a great turn for the Mechanicus in providing those weather control satellites. I assume that you have some form of repayment coming from them. And if that form of repayment from them hasn't been determined yet, we would be very glad to get in on that particular deal as part of turning over a cruiser class Gellerfield.
Yeah. Okay. That's. I feel that's an easy give. I just need to go make some Vox calls. And give me a few days just to sort things out. But certainly, that's a.
We're really looking to get some FaceTime with the Archmagos and expand the level of commitment that the Chutney Breeze have, not only on this moon, but to reach a similar sort of understanding your rogue trader has in doing business directly on the planet.
All right. That's quite clear. Well, that's the business side done. Why don't we just you're going on? When's this hunt of yours?
Oh, I had it scheduled for right after this meeting in about 20 minutes. We ride out on vehicles and take our vac suits or whatever they're called in Warhammer 40K.
Void suit.
Void
suits.
Yeah.
And we hunt space bears.
Yeah. I'm not of the martial persuasion, but both my allies here are, and I don't remember whether he likes. I'm pointing to Luther, whether he's combat or not, but maybe
Luther will be more than happy to come along this hunt if you.
Have either of you used a Rimworld Colonizer 666? And he holds up the oversized 2-barreled single-shot bolt fire gun. Actually,
Velamris here. I put my hand on his shoulder.
Yeah,
he has been honing his close combat skills. I'm sure he would love to test them against a. What did you say? It was
a space bear.
A space bear.
Yes.
Wow, James. Wow. You son of a bitch.
Incredible. You don't seem the sort of man to be able to take down a 6,000-pound, 20-foot-long space bear, but I'd be glad. I'd pay money to see it. Throne Gelf right on the table.
I think there's a smirk on Velamris' face as he tries to keep calm, and he's just like, well, I do have Bessie, and he points to the sniper rifle that's currently folded up inside his backpack.
There aren't many men who would use a precision weapon like that to bludgeon someone in the head, but I look forward to seeing it.
No, well, this would be a bullet, but yes.
Oh, we can't use sniper rifles while we're hunting. There are very strict regulations.
I'll take the scope off and be at somewhat closer range.
Oh, no, sir. Charles, be a dear and please bring the documentation about the hunting laws on this particular world. Of course.
Oh, I will absolutely read these laws, too, just to see what I can get away with.
I would. Last roll before the break, I definitely want to see some sort of documentation reading roll for sure.
This is going. Well, let me see. My talent is. What does it say? Where is it? There it is. Advantage on tests made to retrieve information from a document.
Yep.
So this would probably be lore or logic.
I'll do lore at a -1, and you get advantage going in.
I will help with my attentive assistant, so he gets +1 SL.
Well.
And AP, you said -1 something or other.
Yes.
But I'll cancel that because I'm giving you assistance.
The two of you are going over the document together.
Yeah. So
all right, so I'm rolling. I want to make sure I'm rolling. Modifier and success level is both 0, and challenging is the difficulty +0.
And you have advantage.
And I have advantage because of my talent.
Yep. Okay. You rolled
5
a 1.
degrees.
You want an actual. You go, I actually wrote this document.
You know. I think at some point he actually did read it back on a Scooch Tax or something or other. Some document like this. An older version of this document passed by him, and he's like, "I remember recommending that edit."
It crossed your desk as part of its approval process.
I do have to say that, like in my job,
I had to forward it on, of course.
In my actual job, I have to respond to tenders quite regularly. And historically, when I worked for the government, I used to write tenders. And every now and again, I'll come across like a section of a tender that I wrote this part, and then it's just been copied and pasted. And it's worse when they haven't like updated it properly, because I was working for the Department of Health, so I'll get like a tender for like I don't know, like a power plant, and I'll refer to patient care areas. She'll have the following equipment. I'm like, okay, they obviously didn't check the writing. They just copied and pasted the whole section.
It's always fun to see something like that, and you're like, I remember when I misspelled the, and it's surprising that 6 years later, the is still misspelled.
Incredible. Well, the two of you go over this, and you realize, Velamris, that this sheepskin document written in the darkest ink, you're like, wow, there are so many holes in this. Like, these laws have been in place for hundreds of years, and I can get around them just using really specific argumentation.
Okay. So I get to use my sniper rifle after all.
Okay, but if you do, I just want to say, if you do that, you're opening the door to all of the hunters and nobles on this planet all of a sudden going from like gentlemanly, you know, Rimworld colonizer 666s and chainswords to just being like, all right, well, I show up with a Gatling gun and bomb launcher.
No.
Okay.
Hold on. You need to make sure that there is another, like, your type of rifle is okay specifically, and then we need a lead on those rifles so that we can then sell them here.
Yes.
You know what? I think that's exactly the conversation that ends up happening.
Okay,
is that we find a loophole.
When we come back, we will make a roll to write that in and convince them. Whatever skill you want to use, we'll make it one roll. And yes, and it will gain significant bonus for the rogue trader to have altered the course of history here.
We can negotiate an exclusive production contract with Clan Hard models so that nobody else can order
what
these
were those
rifles.
that we had tested for a while and we pushed
Yes,
to
the
the
Kin Hard bottle las rifles. Yes,
Yeah, but they were cheap crap though. They were
indeed cheap crap. They were manufactured for mass usage.
Yeah, they were like Timu las rifles.
Yeah, we just saw them because Rassie's troops are using them. Somewhere out there's a sergeant juggling their ammo packs while reciting the general orders.
I think that's our fade out moment. We'd pan down from the moon down to the beach, and there's a couple of soldiers just out there. They're juggling their charge packs while reciting the general orders and things to look out for, the enemy within and the enemy without.
Oh no. There's a like a short little platform the sergeant's standing on holding the las gun up, so the trainee does like a push-up and then jumps up and has to grab the charge pack, does another one, has to jump up and put it in.
Oh yes, love it. I love it.
Great, amazing. We'll be back from break in about 5 minutes for more nightmare situations from the training hall. All right,
we're here to let the dice decide.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I'm going to let the spice decide my fate, but what do you guys want to do
All
here?
right, Dune, Arrakis, Desert Planet, calm down.
So I believe you said there were two roles to do here. One was to amend the paperwork, and the other was to convince the house to accept our
We can do it as two. We can do it as one if you have a skill that you think covers all of it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, certainly I think that... I'd probably be going for like, because I'm trying to set up a deal here for the rogue trader as well. So I'd be shooting for haggle on the second one, if that's all right.
This is a guy who's trying to get one profit factor out of a minor backworld noble. Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah.
I think as far as the argument side, that one's bound to be logic. I'm just wondering if I can use my data delver to back me up in that logic-based argument by citing references and things of that nature. References, precedents. Is he trying to answer, or is he fighting the spice right now? I can't tell.
No, I think logic is a fine thing to roll.
Okay.
I was nodding yes.
Okay,
right.
I am fighting the spice, just to be clear.
All right, do I get advantage?
Look, I tried a ghost pepper, okay? I never tried one before.
So I can help you for advantage.
Okay. Well, all right, that's fine. Yes. Yeah, that works. As long as I get advantage on it. All right, here we go. -1. We're going to re-roll that with my second to last fate point. And we got it.
Okay.
The slow knife pierces the shield.
Okay. Is Velamris trained in haggle?
I am not.
No, neither are you. Rassie trained in haggle. All right. So
here comes that grimdark James min-max. Let's go.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start by making a intuition people test with Dealmaker to see if it would help me to bribe Lionel by giving him a free one of these rifles as part of brokering this deal.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a bribe, James. It's a gift, and it's the price of doing business in this country. Okay.
Okay, so that's a yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
just
now I'll be
expected
making-
of businessmen here.
A haggle test with Rassie's help, with advantage, +1 SL for my existing relationship with Lionel, +1 SL for bribing him, +1 SL for my noble garb.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Spoon. You're not wrong.
All right.
Holy shit.
I'll let you tell me on this, AP. Should I spend the fate point to increase
No, I think you're good. You have a +9. You're good.
Yeah, but at +10, does he sell us like everything in his possession to get one of these rifles?
I think that you guys
Oh my god.
rewrite the laws so that the Kin hard bottle exclusive pattern license rifles, which wouldn't normally be legal for sale, you guys are illegally selling them past the Mechanicus onto this little Mechanicus moon that they don't really pay that much attention to. And you've played up the exotic nature of them, like, ooh, these are they're allowed. You know, like what's it called when Xenos are
Sanctioned.
abhuman? So yes, these are
yeah.
sanctioned, but they're exotic and Xenos. And
It's because of the color of the laser.
yes, by the end of the day, like everyone has to have one, and not just for themselves, for all of their hunting parties. And as long as they're upgrading to las rifles, why not get all their house forces on the planet? And you know what? All of their agents in the streets, we should get them, you know, like sawed-off barreled ones that they can hide under their cloaks. And thousands of orders are pouring into the ships that
So,
begin
what I'm
manufacturing
hearing,
them
AP,
immediately.
What I'm hearing, AP, is 2 profit factor.
Yeah, sure. You know what? I'm going to write down that you did a really good job for the rogue trader.
Is that really good job, TM?
Sure. You want it to be.
Fucking 9 degrees of success.
So
Jesus.
you've officially rewritten the document by being like, oh, look at this smudge here, and other like little tricks where you're like, well, this doesn't make sense, or this is superseded by new regulations that were put out 2 years ago. And you rewrite it so that only these las rifles and the traditional ancestral equipment are legal. So you've completely removed the hunt today, as the real hunt that everyone is going on is for deals and bargains, as each group is attempting to negotiate secretly with the rogue trader to get them first and for the best price. And whoever is handling like invoices and deals on the ship is just like, oh yeah, we're gonna make so much money from these idiots.
This was definitely a win-win. The only loser here is Space Bears.
Yeah, the space bears are gonna get absolutely slaughtered.
Speaking of which, at some point, Velamris is like, I think we get a moment where Velamris is like, oh, but I really wanted to go on that hunt. And they're like, you know what? We'll just reschedule the hunt for tomorrow.
Okay.
Since we're going to spend the rest of the day making, playing Let's Make a Deal.
So how they're going to do it is, Rassie, they're going to strip your regiment of all of their rifles and backups, and then get Kin Hardbottle to make you new ones. But since your equipment is owned by the rogue trader, they're selling it out from under you. And so your men are issued new combat knives to make up for their temporary loss of equipment.
And you will get the Mark 1.1 pattern as well, because obviously there's iterations.
Yes, now that they've, worked all the bugs out of it.
Yeah, it's like selling weapons to Ukraine. You really just give them your old weapons and buy new weapons.
Thanks for demonetizing this video for me, James.
Clearing out the old stock to make room for new stock. By the way, Spoon says, I think when you talk about the Bears are the ones that are losing, he says, I think they might surprise you with a partial victory.
No, I have, this actually might play into my short-term goal here, having all those weapons yoinked.
Okay.
Ooh.
Somewhere out there, as night is falling down on the planet and the beach is getting like tiki torched, and guys are like, they've killed a local animal and are roasting it, probably a herd of animals on the beach. All of a sudden, like, rogue trader security troopers come down on a shuttle and begin collecting all your men's equipment. They're like, what the fuck, man? And they're like, give me that. And then hand them a knife. Give me that. Sergeant, I need you to round up all of those weapons. They've been resold. And they put like a sticker on each of them.
Actually, I thought I'm trying to remember now, thinking way back when I was the governor, I took back the regiment supplies that were supposed to be sent to my regiment, but got sent to Lord Colonel Renard.
Yes.
But that probably included weapons.
Yes.
See, spoons for it that have been used, but I think it's like, remember when you used to buy a car, they say, oh, you're running like the first 2,000 miles, it's like just running it in. We can say, oh, these rifles have been run in. You know, they've already had all the kinks worked out. They've been, you know.
They've had the first 1,000 rounds put through them already.
So I like the idea that like the Clan Harbottle las guns are the training weapons that we've been using. So they're on the beach trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing now, because I still have that Elysian stuff all in mothballs and boxes.
All I can think of now is the Nick Cage Lord of War scene where the warlord shoots the guy with the pistol and Nick is like so
It's
shocked.
a used gun.
Yeah, it's a used gun. I can't resell this.
It's not trying hard enough.
A used gun. I like this.
Insane to hit on a man's wife directly in front of him in a room full of people with guns, but okay. You spend the rest of the day not going on a hunt with Luther, but instead selling more and more las rifles, getting more factions hyped up, and insidiously insisting to different factions like, oh, we can get you the sales first, but only if you act now at a slightly increased price. Stuff like that. And by the next morning, as you guys are coming out of your little rogue traders establishment here, which is nowhere near as nice as the beach house you stayed at yesterday, you could see that las rifles are everywhere. Everyone on the street is now heavily armed. No one has armor of any kind. It's just like informants walking around who are very...
Shit!
No, we have all this power we haven't sold yet. But we have to wait for the first like 100 deaths before they have to see there's a problem before we can actually administer the solution.
So here's the problem, is that plenty of people are accidentally shooting themselves in the foot and leg because they're hiding it. You know, they're hiding full-length rifles underneath coats, and then they're just accidentally setting off and shooting themselves, and they're all going to Physical Salvation Services, which is the only medical care on the planet. But unfortunately, it's only been in existence for a few days, and it has completely retooled itself as a cybernetics replacement facility. And so that now sees a bunch of business as this is our
economic powerhouse.
This is our into the Mechanicus. Is that we need the Mechanicus to sell us cyber technology for the medical company, cyber limbs.
Okay.
We probably need more than what we were getting, but I thought previously we were basically just pulling them out of the trash and shipping them up.
Yeah, but if in a demand-driven market, though, we need to create more supply.
This is so horrifying. We've taken this place's economy and at the same time supercharged it.
I see. This is what happens when Mansa Musa visits.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, I just thought, since we know these people are shooting themselves, right? We could also, in addition to the fact that they're going to the only healthcare provider on the moon when they do shoot themselves, but we could also put together like a pick series of like basic lasgun fundamentals so that they feel safer about owning these things unsafely, and we can sell that too.
I hate this so much.
We sell them a PowerPoint, and then we sell them a safety training course.
No, I think
we can't sell it to them. We have to sell tickets to come watch it, so they can't redistribute it.
Yes,
no.
Yes. I like what you think.
I can think of another option. Okay, so remember how the Rogue Trader has like a body double?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is we need to get like the Rogue Trader's body double to like create some like TV episodes about Chaderius Darkwind. Sort of like dramatizations of his greatest fun, and all end off with like the He-Man style. Here's like tip for the day to keep your rifle working well.
G.I. Joe, the more you know.
And it's all about building his notoriety as well. So
okay. I
we
love
could-
this. This is
we could
definitely a
build-
plan I would make.
We could build a theater, so they have to pay tickets to come watch it. So they're competing for tickets to come watch these to get the tips and all the cool videos.
So I need to
Every-
find this Planet Scorsese in order to direct this.
Oh my god.
Every planet has one. It's a universal law.
I need a role to coordinate all of this with the people on the ship. I love this. Every part about the Mechanicus, getting them involved with Cyberlimb production and shipping out fresh ones for people rather than use one for servitors. Getting he is a body double, but his job as a body double is to show up in full dress uniform and impress people, right? Like,
Yeah.
Darkwind is kind of a more laid back guy, but he still has to look like a rogue trader to the masses. Is there any single skill people want to try to do for?
Could I try? Because this is coordinating all these different organizations to put together this production. Could I try leadership?
Absolutely.
Holly, can you give me free advantage and help me with this?
I can't. That being said, my leadership is higher than yours. So if we're going to do it together,
Hey, I spent points on leadership earlier today, so I could also, if necessary, help.
I doubt it's for. I mean, mine's a 54.
I'm not
a
at
70.
54, but
Yeah, I will help Holly.
yeah, that's
All
fine.
three of you and Luther are basically in your shuttle, constantly using the comm equipment. You fully forced the pilots out of the cockpit and have turned it into an office space. As it's like a 90s movie with stock tickers. You're constantly like pulling off a new piece of
Wesley.
vellum and writing on it and handing it to Luther, and he's running it outside and he's like, "We've got 50 more rifles!"
Yeah, that's actually far better than I was coming up with something like West Wing in the middle of an election cycle.
All of you are walking in the shuttle, but there's only like 10 feet, so you just have to keep
So we
turning
keep
around
turning
and
around.
walking back. The worst walk and talk in history. Okay.
yeah. Wait. Before you continue, I only got +2 degrees. I could make it +3 with a
No,
with
plus
a
2
point.
is more than good enough.
Okay, or I could
coordinate
re-roll it to try and get
everything.
better. Okay.
True to your word with Lionel Chutney Bree, you get him a priority in with the Mechanicus. You get all of the extra cyber limbs. Like the Mechanicus is excited to have someone who speaks their language in Keefenovius, quite literally, be their middleman. And so, you guys are only getting like 2 or 3% off of every sale, but
That's a
volume. And you're barely doing anything. Like, they're bringing the limb to you, and he's merely acting as a middleman, and you guys are getting paid.
Yeah, it's called drop shipping.
Yes, oh my god. James, now we're gonna get LinkedIn bots in the fucking comment section. Jesus Christ. Do you know these 25 AI tools to increase your business? Teenagers are using them to make a business. Thanks, James. I really appreciate it. Any other keywords you want to drop real quick? Sandy Hook. And filming begins for a pilot episode, which is out by midday, of like the rogue trader with the rifle. He's using it really like he's got one foot up on a space rock. And he's got his elbows on it, and they're playing like folk music on a banjo, like boo ba doo ba doo ba doo ba. Wow, another space bear taken out. Well, if my name's not, rifle over his shoulder, Chaderius Darkwind.
Right, I'm definitely this afternoon going to go into Suno and create an AI generated like theme song for this action
This jingle?
rogue trader
You're gonna
show.
create the jingle?
Yeah, I
I'm
want to
gonna,
imagine it's more like Western. Someone said Fallout in chat. I think it was Spoon, and I'm definitely
It probably
into
Spoon.
like Vault Boy style, like Chaderius Darkwind going along, and like just las gunning down a space bear. They don't have a space bear though, so it's like a bad graphics mock-up of it. It's just an arm of a bear off camera. Rah, rah. He's like, pew, 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 pew. And then at the end of it, he turns to the camera and says, he's got a cleaning kit, and he's cleaning the barrel out, and he's like, you got to maintain these things 3 times a day every time you fire them. And I only use Chaderius Darkwind approved Mechanicus anointment oils. Yes, these holy gun oils aren't just used for ballistic weapons. You can also make sure all the parts are moving well greased, just as long as you recite the right prayers. Prayer books sold separately. And then, it goes black and white, and there's like a big lion goes, rah! As like a field of stars appears around him, and everything zooms out, and then, you get the numbers 987654321. And you begin selling tickets for the first sale of Chaderius Darkwind, Trailblazer of Space. They're sold out immediately, and you did it by going to each of the noble houses and being like, we only have a select set of premium tickets.
Yeah. Manufactured scarcity.
Manufactured scarcity, yes. And the tickets are only good for their particular showing.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. You have absolutely... Listen, we're a Rogue Trader selling. This episode is absolutely the most sales we have ever done. I feel so slimy. You guys are like, how can we make this planet significantly worse while getting a bunch of money?
We're just going to sell them their own shit.
That's like every rich person in the real world.
Yeah, for real.
All right, so we've skipped genres to the outer worlds?
Outer worlds, yeah.
Yeah, I forget which one is the one with the space puzzle game and which one is the murder capitalism. I didn't want to get the wrong one. Great. You have done 2 great jobs for the Rogue Trader, which I'm now putting down there. But you've spent a day and a half working on this problem. And you've caused an enormous amount of production and advertising space. And, you've put thousands of people to work through the ideas of the 3 of you in the space of 20 minutes.
You better start buying carbon credits.
Oh my God. I don't think they have carbon credits in the Imperium future. Well, I think someone will buy that carbon. All right, James, all you need to do now is get a tax shelter. Complete the cycle. I'm worried by the end of the show you're going to own the moon.
I don't want the moon.
He wants everything.
When Holly ends up owning this moon, it's just to sell it for something else.
So a few hours past noon, you all have completed, you're all absolutely sweating from the amount of work that you've had to do. It's been extremely stressful, but very rewarding. And you've been eating, rations from in the shuttle when you receive a message from Lionel Chutney Brie on, a little holo communicator that pops up, and he says, Sister Holly and companions, I just received word that the Mechanicus is more willing to do more restricted business with me, yes. It seems you've kept up your end of the bargain with this little hunt idea as well, so I'm proud to say that I'm putting in an order with my...
associates.
My uncle's second son's daughter, so that we can get you a heavy cruiser, Gellerfield. Now, we can't help you install it. You'll have to do that yourself. Human sacrifice is, as always, necessary to replace such things, but I'm sure a rogue trader can procure the parts. I expect it to arrive on site sometime between the next 6 and 8 months.
If you could, would you be able to send me just a spec sheet on what you're seeing, just so I can get our teams ready with the appropriate skills and tools?
Yes, of course. You must understand that based on where and when we'll be sourcing this, we aren't sure exactly how big or how powerful the drive is.
No, that's fine. It's better than what we have right now.
Of course.
And it'll always be worked on.
Well, we have several potential targets in mind. We'll send you a list of their specifications.
Excellent. That would be most beneficial.
Okay. Okay, so he does send you a list of a series of aggressor-class cruisers that have been spotted in the area.
I mean, what I plan to do is once I've got this, I plan to take these two back down to the estate and hand the list to whoever the Magos Prime of the bridge crew is, and ask them to have a look through these and choose which one they would like for the Darkwind.
Okay.
Very matter of factly, pick one of these. I'll have it delivered in 6 to 8 months.
Okay. We cut to that scene.
Okay.
The Magos Prime goes, excellent. I think I worked on this ship at some point. Sorry, did you say it last time I checked, this ship was still in service?
I only know it's the Gellerfield's on the market, so there must have been some sort of issue in the past, I guess.
All right, we're cutting to at the bottom of the screen 3 months from now, and we see a rogue trader and a group of her pirate ships begin firing boarding lines and boarding shuttles as it pulls an aggressor class cruiser, and the captain on board is like, "What is happening here? We are being boarded by a rogue trader!" We can see that she's brought a quartermaster with him, and he's marking what's being sold to who. He's like, "Yes, we're selling this to Lord X and Y from the Karo system, and over here we're sending this to Macarius." And the captain of the ship is apoplectic. He's like, "My goodness, this is thievery! This is rank terrorism!" And then a sword comes out of the front of his face as we see Kasala Chutney Brie behind him and goes, "Well, it is my ship." Blood everywhere.
I like the idea that this quartermaster's walked around with a pad of post-it notes.
Yeah.
He's just writing and just sticking it to stuff.
Did you ever watch Red Dwarf, the show Red Dwarf?
I've seen half of an episode.
Okay.
I need to look at this at some point.
Because one of the characters in that was a humanoid cat. And he has a spray bottle with his scent, and he walks around just spraying things in the ship. And that's mine. That's mine.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm spent, AP. Please let the other two have some limelight.
Of course, right? I feel like everybody's had a go today.
The next, I would like to. I never dismissed the training exercise.
It's been running for 36 hours concurrently.
Yes. So now I want to, while they're still going, I want to walk between the ranks, and I'm looking for the person that seems the most. I don't want to say the most into it, but the person who seems the least distressed by the fact that this sucks horribly. I'm looking for the most compliant person.
I see. You identify a young woman who seems to... I mean, these are not Progenium-trained warriors. These are average citizens who turn to a life of cultism. And you come up to a woman who is clearly filled with a Relorian sense of faith and fire, who's just like, "I'm glad to be here, sir. Absolutely ready to serve. Give me a flamethrower." Everybody else, shirts covered with sweat. They've been wiping themselves down. She's just pep in her step. She's ready. Everyone in chat is saying embrace the suck. Okay.
I'll point at her and say, "Come with me."
All right.
And then I want to walk over to whoever looks like they are suffering the most.
Okay. That's almost everyone here.
Yeah, I want to find somebody who's
pretty badly just thinking about this situation.
There's a guy in the ranks randomly. His name is Arthur.
Please don't put me in Warhammer 40K, the worst universe imaginable.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out here because this is fun. So wait, I'm looking for whoever looks like they are the least motivated and most struggling person here. And it's a guy in the group who's currently doing push-ups at the edge of the water. So when they go down, they put their heads in the water and then they come back up over and over.
Oh, God.
And there's one guy who keeps trying to go down and he just can't quite bring himself to put his head in the water. And I point at him. And I look at her and say, "Motivate him."
You tell me what this looks like, because she's gonna do it.
So I'm sussing out to see if I'm going to make her my commissar equivalent. So it's probably horrendous.
Okay.
Like grab back of head and just like force into the water and hold until he's like partially drowned and pull him out type horrendous.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah, she waterboards him for a few minutes until you look satisfied.
Yeah, just at some point I'll just nod and say, all right, I have a job for you. Come with me.
She's gonna wear all red.
Sir, yes, sir. Pleasure to serve, sir.
Are you familiar with the role of a commissar?
Yes, sir.
You are the DDT's commissar.
All right. I'll have to get a skull cap, sir.
And I'm going to give her, I'm going to sit her down with some reading materials. So, like, my expectations of, like, her job as the DDT's commissar. She's not part of the command structure. She is there to enforce discipline.
Yeah. So she's getting a giant top hat with a skull on it, and then skull epaulets, and then 2 pistols with skulls on the hilt, and then a sword, chainsword with a skull on the base of it. Just lots of skulls. Skull buckle, dark reds and blacks everywhere, completely a non-regulation uniform. And she puts in a request for a Sororitas flamethrower. What are they called? Hand flamers?
Hand flamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get her a hand flamer.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about the Sororitas selling you a hand flamer on another day.
Yeah.
New
I mean,
side quest
you
on
take a
moms.
regular hand flamer, you stick a fleur-de-lis on the side, Sororitas hand flamer.
You can tell James works at sales.
Yeah, I guess I'll try. I guess my final thing then is to make an appointment to go to the Light of Dawn to discuss
Okay.
Purchases and addressing the spiritual needs of the DDT.
Velamris.
So
Go ahead.
I'm set up for next session.
Velamris, do you have any last minute thing you want to pick out here?
I would like to do that hunt, whether it's with everybody and the chutney breeze and
I think
all
it's
that,
with
or if it's
Luther
just
and Chutney Brie.
yeah, definitely.
So
would
he
like to
goes
do
out
that.
with his wingers and his hounds. So he has a pair of cyber mastiffs that flush the space bears out, and then he has his wingers, which are just average, normal, like peasants, who he pays a pittance to go run out and attract the bears to try to come and kill them. And then you're supposed to kill the bear before it kills the regular peasants.
I want to sort of indirectly assist in harassing and harrying the bear and keeping its focus off
With
of
the
Luther.
dogs?
Well, my intent is I want to set it up so that Luther makes the kill shot,
Okay.
and I want to do it in such a way that like I'm observing him, because 1, I want to boost his confidence, and 2, I need him to be a competent fighter.
Okay, he rolled an 8, so...
Yeah, he's good. He's
He
actually impressed.
vats
He
it.
actually impressed Velamris. Velamris was like, "Holy shit! I didn't think he'd do it that well."
You're bouncing over the low gravity moon in your void suit. The cyber mastiffs are running beside you. They're not making any like noise, but they're firing really low powered las shots. And you see what you thought was like a random rock or a boulder, and a 20-foot long bear that's fur looks as if it is made out of moon rocks and dust, rises up, shakes itself off. You see the dust on it flies in like low gravity slow motion before settling around it, and the bear begins making enormous leaps of like 40-foot stride low gravity hops across the world. And the dogs are trying to keep pace with it. You start zooming ahead. You're trying to get the bear's attention. You're firing shots around it. The bear turns towards you, and in that moment, Luther, Deadeye, right down the shot, shoots it through one ear, out the other. The brains explode into space. The bear's exterior exoskeleton now exposed. Everything inside it begins to boil. The bear is perfectly preserved. This is a great shot, and he's going to be able to take that head home once they clean all the brains out of it.
Yeah.
Lord Chutney Brie over the Vox goes, "Good shot, my boy. Well, I'll have my comb beat out of my ear for this. Incredible."
And I think Velamris, whatever the process might be for cleaning it and eventually, pulling the parts out.
They
and,
have
and
other people to do that.
Yeah,
Of course.
Velamris wants the pelt turned into a cape and given to Luther.
Okay, this cape is more like the size that an Imperial Knight would use rather than Luther.
Well, listen,
again,
I want
the
to make
bear
sure
is 6,000 pounds and 20
we
foot
don't
long.
need this whole pelt for that. We just need this little piece right here.
Okay.
One
of the legs can be his entire body.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to use the entire pelt, but just enough to make a cloak out of that pelt for Luther as a badge of honor.
You can make multiple clothes. You could be the Order of the Pelt.
Ooh.
That's cool. Yeah.
We've Pendragoned all the way back again. There we go.
The Void Ursus. Anyway.
Okay. I would like to offer 50 XP to Velamris and Rassie, and
Excellent.
550 to James as you've cleared both of your goals.
Okay. I will accept your offer.
And then what do we get? Session XP as well?
You will also get 50 section XP as well. And you can each take 5,000 Macarians.
Sorry, how much were the two of us get?
50 and 50 for 100.
Okay.
And then James is getting 600.
And I need a new short-term goal.
Yep.
I need you both goals.
Same.
So my list to finish my long-term right now is to get somebody for the spiritual needs of the DDT, to start actual drop cycle training, and to go through the organization to get like squads purpose built, like the weapons teams and stuff like that. And at that point, I think I'll be done.
AP,
Yes.
for Velamris' next short-term goal, I believe we are going to the Light of Dawn next because we need a chaplain type person. Is that am I understanding that right, Kain?
I mean, I need to go there.
Right.
And I also need to get 2 helmets custom made. One for my commissar and one for myself, so we can be sealed up. And like the top of the helmet is modified for us to wear our hats attached to our helmets.
Wow, Rassie's really going to be one of those drive me closer, I want to hit it with my sword type leaders.
I also just
He's
like
fully
the idea
embraced the lordship of being an imperial governor, for sure.
I want to go to the Light of Dawn as well because I want to speak with somebody within the religion or within the church about forming the idea of forming a knighthood chapter around Sanguinius, because that was where Velamris went through his walk through the fire, had the vision of Sanguinius, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think what he wants to do is he's going to try to make this knightly order around the idea of Sanguinius, sacrifice, and martial excellence, or something along those lines.
Okay.
what's the title of the person who's charge of what passes as Marines in the void crew?
I'm not sure what we're asking about.
Like who's in charge of like the people who repel borders? Is there a title for that?
Oh, Master at Arms, right? Of the ship? I think that might have been Nero's job. The walking disaster.
Yeah,
he was the
Master at
gunner.
Arms.
Yes, never mind.
It would be the Master of Arms, so yeah.
Well, any other business here?
I think that yeah, I don't want to push my luck. I've only got 5 fate points left. 4 fate points, sorry.
I think we got a lot done in 2 hours.
Yeah.
we made a lot of money.
The second half of this episode was absolutely insane.
It was amazing. When you say insane, what I hear is amazing.
Okay. It was amazing in a way, for sure. We truly have reached the peak of our mercantilism, for sure. I definitely feel like I'm a Victorian era arms merchant in the East India Company.
I was just going to say the East India Company would like to know our location.
Yeah, for sure. We're hassling nobles into going out into the wastes of India and being like, oh ho, chum, there's plenty of hunting out here as long as you bring the locals.
And the correct weaponry.
I got tired of carrying my gear, so I hired a Sherpa. I apologize to all the British people out there. All of them. Every single one.
And all the Sherpas.
Yes, all the
Sherpas. And all the Indians, right?
Yeah, I think that's the right word to use.
I don't need to apologize to India. They know what they did. Are we good for next week?
I am.
Yes.
Yep.
That is it for us, audience at home. We'll be back next week, maybe for a full-length episode, but probably for some really fucking zany stuff. If we build on this energy, for sure.
I mean, look, I finished my goal for this. For like my Arc 2 goal was definitely to sort of get the Gellerfield.
Yeah.
And then my Arc 3 goal was going to be to marry into the Road Trader dynasty. So I need to think of do I need to advance my plans now?
It's time to start dating.
Maybe start laying the groundwork for it.
Well, I've been trying to impress. I've been getting those, Chaderius Darkwind will remember this thing's popping up on the top of my screen.
Yeah, you've definitely been impressing people, but have you been making courtesy rolls?
Yeah, but it's not about. I guess that she wanted to prove that she was worth something to him before she, it's like, it's not about love, AP, for God's sake.
Nobody marries for love. It's all about political expedience.
Wow, what a thought to leave this on in an episode that's going to be filled with LinkedIn ads.